The last few hours, we've seen literally hundreds of graduates and their families come over to the Old Well here to take those customary commencement photos, but obviously a very different backdrop than you've seen in years past. We have dozens of protesters that remain out here at this hour, still calling for divestment, still calling for an end, immediate ceasefire in Gaza, calling on the university to offer amnesty to those students who were arrested or suspended in the wake of those protests and arrests last week. There's a new encampment on the other side of the Old Well that's formed on the lawn in the last few hours, and just about 30 minutes ago, that group of several dozen protesters on the lawn circled the Old Well where you just saw them. They still are, and they began chanting as they are now as students and families took those graduation photos. They then held a 15-minute moment of silence to honor the thousands that have been killed in Gaza since October. Protests here on campus reached a peak earlier today, as you mentioned, when dozens of protesters gathered on the steps of the South Building on the other side of the street here, splattering it with red paint and pro-Palestinian messaging. Those protesters proceeded to stamp red handprints on the pillars and walls of the South Building, along with messages such as "Hands off Gaza." And today's protest, just hours before undergraduate commencement, have divided students.
There are a lot of students who were brutalized and arrested and are not able to graduate today, students that have been banned from campus. And so the response has been no business as usual, no justice, no peace.
As a UNC graduate, we were taking our 2024 graduation away from us in high school, so I just hoped and pray that tonight we'll be able to graduate as a class and celebrate it the correct way.
We also talked to a student from Israel today who said seeing these protests on campus has been very difficult. We heard from parents of graduating students voicing their frustrations as well. Thankfully, though, these protests today have remained entirely peaceful. And my colleague Tom George is standing by over at Kenan Stadium, where commencement is set to begin in just under an hour from now. We're going to send it over to him. Tom, how's it looking over there on the other side of campus?
Yeah, very much different over here on this side of campus, Sean. We were over where you were a little bit earlier. You could see those Palestine protesters over by the Old Well, but up here by Kenan Stadium, where the graduation ceremony is set to take place, no sign of any protests out here. As a matter of fact, right now it's a sea of Carolina blue as graduates are lining up to make their way inside. Now, obviously, this is a much bigger undertaking than what we saw yesterday with UNC Law graduation, with the pharmacy school graduation. This, you have the entire undergraduate population graduating, but traditionally this would have been on Mother's Day, but because of everything going on, they decided to make it tonight, Saturday night, as people are heading in, and there are those security protocols to be aware of. The students have to have their IDs ready to go. They do have those limitations in place, but you know, in light of everything that's been going on, people here tell me they wanted to make sure that they got their time to celebrate, especially given all the turmoil.
We went through COVID, we had to go through like all of the stuff with the protests and stuff, so I feel like we had a very different experience from a lot of the people before us, so yeah.
You know, the world is always going to have a lot of stuff going on in it, but at the end of the day, I'm grateful that this evening I can focus on graduating, and then, you know, tomorrow tackle the big issues, right?
Yeah, keeping a positive attitude and very much wanting to focus on all they've accomplished. Of course, dealing with COVID and then now these protests, really wanting to make today about the graduates. And that seems to be what's going on right now. But there are some security restrictions. They do have a strict clear bag policy in place that they're going to be checking. They're also checking every single one of these students' IDs to make sure that they're good to be inside. And in light of those protests, they're also banning any flags or banners from being inside the ceremony here at Kenan, trying to avoid any kind of disruptions. But as it stands right now, so far so good. We've seen crowds of graduates and their families lining up. The doors are just about to open soon ahead of that ceremony. We'll of course have full coverage of that and have much more tonight at 11.